Cheers, y'all.
Well. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this fine radio program, podcast and video extravaganza known internationally as the world-famous Smokin' and Toastin'. We are all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. Today, you are here for number 276. We are officially
halfway to 300.
Halfway to 300. Thank you, Alan. Alan Denney is my guest co-host today. Ian is out of town, and so we reached out to Alan and asked him if he would come on the show. And it's really pretty cool to have you on when you're not actually pod crashing.
Yeah.
You know?
That doesn't happen very often.
Alan is from the Galveston Island Cigar Lounge. He knows quite a bit about cigars. I'll be asking him lots of questions today. And, I've had a drink or two with him as well. So, and we'll do more of that today, as a matter of fact. We are going to be talking about the 10 best spring beers. There's a new list that's come out from Thrillist about the 10 best spring beers on the market, because it is feeling distinctively spring-like right now.
Man, it is so nice. Let me tell you what, I can't tell, even yesterday, pouring down rain, both doors open at the shop.
Yeah.
Breeze flowing through.
It still felt like spring. Yeah, I know. And we've mentioned this before, but the back deck of your place is just... it's a wonderful and sublime place to have one of your favorite cigars.
And we just added new furniture. Where,
cool.
We've got we had that wicker kind of style out there since we've been open 2.5 years, and we added a bunch of Adirondack style chairs.
Those are
out
great
there
chairs. Yeah,
they'll last forever. I think I'll be dead and gone before those chairs will disintegrate. But
we're kind of doing a Denney double dip here on the show, because not only is Alan co-hosting with me this week, but we'll be down at your shop next week to do the show. And our good friend Trenton from Oliva is joining us. And we've had Trenton on the show a lot of times, and somebody asked me, I mentioned we were having him on again, somebody said, you have that guy on quite a bit. Why does he, how does he rate to get on the show that much? I said, it's simple. His cigars are terrific. It's real simple, and he has a tendency to bring them. We were fortunate enough to have Trenton on the very day that Oliva announced their only new product announcement in a long time, which has been the Series V 135, and they're so good. And then he brought a couple of them with him the next time he was on, and so I just got my fingers crossed. I know they're making more. They originally were going to be a very limited run.
It's going to be a while before they come back out.
Well, I'm hoping he has a couple stashed.
That'd be nice. I think right after y'all finished that show, y'all called me.
Yes.
And we're like, hey, we need these. And I was like, yeah, we don't even have anything to order them yet. And Ian was like, no, me and Cruz want some. Just put them aside.
Yeah. And we did get them, too.
Yeah. The day I got however many boxes I ordered, gone that day.
I don't doubt it, and I think that happens a lot with things that are apportioned or that come in limited quantities, especially if there's any kind of built-up excitement about them, and there certainly was for the 135. So Oliva's making more, which is the good news.
Yeah.
I don't know how many more for how long, but
at the Smokin' and Toastin' price to quality index on that cigar, I would have easily rated that cigar 7.
And what is the retail on that for a single stick?
$9.99.
See, you got to say for a $10. I don't know if there is a better $10 cigar. I mean, it's just fantastic.
Yeah, I put it up there with a lot of really good $17 to $21 cigars.
Absolutely.
And I would be happy paying $17 for that cigar.
I've got one left in my humidor.
I got
zero.
I got nothing left.
I got one left from that batch that Ian and I bought from you. So I'll just go ahead and ask you now. Can you hold us another couple boxes?
Oh, we are going to order way more of those
than
what we ordered.
Well, so we'll talk about the 10 best spring beers on the show today, and then we're also going to spend some time debunking some of the most popular myths about drinking. Because, people, when it comes to drinking, especially when you tell, and there's always that great moment when you're at the doctor and the doctor asks you, so alcohol, yes, and how often and how much? And you sit there in that moment trying to figure out if there's any way you can be honest, and of course there isn't. So you play it down, whatever amount it is. If you have one beer a day, you say you have a couple beers a week. Yeah, and then if you're like any of us that have been on this show, you really don't know what to say. So you just say, occasionally.
Occasionally this hour, occasionally the next hour.
I drink socially, and I'm a very social person.
I get that.
Yep, that's the way it is. So anyway, we'll debunk, though, some of those drinking myths, because some of them are pretty pervasive and not necessarily true. And we'll do some drinking, of course. We, in honor of Alan being here, I also brought in a beer today that is also from Galveston, Galveston Island Brewing. We'll be tasting their Mardi Gras Blonde Ale. I don't know if you've had that before.
I have. It's really good.
And we'll also be tasting from Petaluma, California, Lagunitas Unrefined Shugga. It's a strong ale with whole cane sugar. And they've been doing the Shugga series at Lagunitas for a while. This is the first time I've seen this one, so I grabbed some for us to have. And finally, from one of our favorite breweries in the country, from Milton, Delaware, Dogfish Head Craft Brewery, we'll be having their Bourbon-Barrel aged worldwide stout. So I know none of that sounds good to you.
You didn't bring IPAs and you didn't bring Malort. I'm good.
see, and I thought about it because most shows we wind up with an IPA, maybe like 4 out of 5. But I thought I'd spare you today since I know you're not an IPA guy.
I'm not an IPA. I'll try them. Yeah. I'll try. Every time me and the resident whiskey expert, Kris Hart, are together, he's always got something.
He's
peated.
an IPA guy. He loves them. Yeah.
He does, and he loves peated scotches.
Right.
I'm not a peat guy either. I'll try them. I can appreciate them for what they are, but
I've learned to like them. They weren't my favorite at first, but I've learned to like them as we've done 276 episodes of the show, and I've had a chance to try a few. And at first, I it was a bit off-putting, but no, I've learned to actually enjoy it. So maybe you should just try sneaking one in every now and then.
There is one IPA that I enjoy.
Yeah,
and it's the only one that I've ever had that I'm like, I can buy a 4-pack of that and enjoy it, and it's Buffalo Bayou's More Cowbell.
Oh, More Cowbell you like. And that's a pretty big IPA. Because usually people that say they don't like IPAs, it's usually because of the big sort of pine coney vibe, and More Cowbell's got a little of that going on.
I think More Cowbell to me has a lot more of the citrus to it.
Yeah,
too.
It does actually.
And I think that's what helps me cut the other.
It's very interesting. Now, even when Ian's here, Ian likes some IPAs. He doesn't like nearly as many of them as I like. So that's always a point of give and take between him and I. I like the IPAs. He likes the beers that have chunks in them.
That's my jam. That's the one. There's two things I hate about summer: heat, and most of the stouts go. You don't see
most of the stouts go away.
Stouts
yeah, that's true.
out.
Well, if you buy them during the winter and spring, you can. Most of them can still be quite good.
So I know Ian's mentioned it a couple times on some of the more recent podcasts that y'all done. I've got a few refrigerators outside.
Yes, so I've been told.
more than 2 outside. That doesn't include the ones inside.
You've got enough refrigerators outside that one of them's just for your wife's stuff.
Yes.
And then you've got your regular beers and your special beers, right? All right, that's a commitment. I like commitment is important, and I think it's good to see that you've got that. So we'll be trying all those beers. Plus, sitting on Mr. Twirlygig as we speak is a bottle of Walking Stick Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey from Louisville, Kentucky. And I was told, and I have not tried this, as you can see. We're flirting with danger today because I've left the cellophane wrapping on the top of this. So I really wanted to try it for the first time on the show because I was told that if you like Blanton's, you will like this.
That's for all the taters out there.
And I certainly like Blanton's. So we'll see how it measures up. It wasn't as expensive as a bottle of Blanton's, so there's that. But hey, I'm all about finding a bourbon. Speaking of expensive, I just about lost my mind when I was in Specs this week. And Specs, for those of you who are not from this area, we have a lot of listeners all over the world. Specs is kind of our It's our hometown chain, if you will.
It started out as a hometown store.
Yes, and still is. It's still only in Texas, I believe. And there's more family-owned. There's more of them in Houston than there are anywhere else, but they're now in Dallas and El Paso and Austin, all over the place. But I was in my favorite Specs, which is the flagship store in Midtown, and I was actually looking. It was where I bought that walking stick bourbon. And I was perusing the tequila aisle because I love me some tequila. And one of my all-time favorites...
George Clooney.
Oh, no, it wasn't the Clooney. Good guess. One of my all-time favorites is the Skelly. And I went for years not trying it because it comes in that torso and head of a skeleton with a sombrero on top. And I thought, it's probably a gimmick. And when I eventually tried the Añejo, I was floored. This is great. I can't believe it. So it became kind of my go-to. It was, at that time, I want to say it was around $30 a bottle, 35 maybe at the most. And it has slowly gone up over the years. In fact, every time I buy a bottle, it's always a few dollars more than it was the last time. So I'm on the tequila aisle, and I'm perusing. I was looking for ones that I hadn't had that we could taste here on the show. And I looked down at the Skelly Añejo. It's $100 now. $100. Now, I know that all tequilas have gotten more expensive. But $100?
Are you sure you were at Specs and not the lumber store or the gas station?
I'm telling you. I think it was $98.
That's ridiculous.
I couldn't believe it. And I thought, okay, now, if a bottle of Jose Cuervo Reserva de la Familia, which is my absolute favorite of all time, if that's $150, can I justify spending $100 for Skelly? And I'm not sure I can.
So, all joking aside, just because of knowing what Kris has gone through, I wonder, especially with that special bottle, if part of the problem is the bottle itself.
Could be. I mean, there's a lot going on there. You've got the bottle. It's got to be obviously crafted. You've got the skeleton head is also the piece with the stopper in it that goes into the top. Yeah. And then you pour out of the neck. And then it's got to be painted. And then you've got a sombrero. And the sombreros are always changing different colors and different things. So there's got to be some expense to doing that. But wow. $100. I was expecting it was going to go into the 60 neighborhood. But
I am very curious about something. You know Edgar Hoyle, right? So Edgar had a tequila line for a while. And I was up in Dallas for my birthday. He was doing an event at Trey. Damn, I just brain farted on Trey's last name.
Trey Boring?
No. Trey that used to be the rep.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yes.
Anyway, sorry, Trey, if you're listening. Anyway, Trey's got a shop up there now, so we were up there for my birthday, and I thought for sure Edgar was going to bring some of his tequila. And he was like, "No, I didn't bring any, bro." And I was like, "Well, why not?" He goes, "We're kind of done with that." And I was like, "I can't get it in." And I was like, "Well, dude, if you can't get it in, let's talk to Kris. You know, Kris has got all the connections in the world. He can get it in. They could bottle it right there in Houston. You're from Houston." No. The cartel took over the distillery. Like, they own it now. We can't get any of it. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, the cartel took over the entire distillery in Mexico.
Wow.
And I was like,
that could explain some rising prices.
Yeah, okay. The cartel's trying to go legit.
Hey, they gotta launder that money somewhere, don't they?
Right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, anyway, we won't be trying a tequila today, but we will be trying Walking Stick Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey that is supposed to be comparable to Blanton's. We'll see. And then you brought a couple of bottles with you as well.
Yeah, I brought a couple of things. So this has been talked about a lot here in Houston, especially in HBS. And so Kris Hart is our resident whiskey expert. I almost want to throw up in my mouth saying that. But he launched his own brand 2 years ago, Gregarious Grump. He's had some ryes, he's had some rums. But he came out with a cognac line a couple of months back. And it's been very well received. Yeah. And so I brought the 14. It's cask strength, unfiltered, uncut. And then I brought the 30. And it is by far the cheapest 30-year-old cognac on the market. I got it. There's a great new owner of a liquor store in Galveston, Economy Liquor, West End, Travis Massey. We sell him cigars, so I'll throw him a little shout out. But I had told him about Kris's stuff. He got to meet Kris, liked Kris, has he was already selling the rye, the Prideful Goat,
right,
and it was selling well, and so he brought these in. So I don't know what other liquor stores are doing it for, but you get it from him for $150.
And for a 30-year-old
cognac. 30-year-old cognac. And this is fantastic. Now, I will say there is one cognac that I've had, but I think it was actually an Armagnac, but that was Space Cowboy Rides Again. Did you ever get to try any of that?
No, I have not had that.
So that was picked by Randy Svetlik and some of the other guys. But this is probably the best next to that. And like I said, I think that was an Armagnac. So.
Well, I can tell just from the amount of liquid left in the bottle that I can tell you which one's the 30. It would be the one on your left.
You are correct. You are correct.
Right, Alan's left.
It's absolutely. You want to try it now? You want to do the 14 first?
Oh yeah, let's go ahead. Why don't you pour us some of the 14? And while you do that, I want to tell you guys about the cigar that I sampled this week for the show. Usually, I ask Ian what he has smoked, and I'm going to ask you a little bit later, maybe what your favorite cigar is that you've smoked in the last month or so. Okay. But I tried something today that I had not had before. It was the Punch Diablo Gusto. And the Diablo Gusto comes in a little tube. El Diablo, of course, is Spanish for the Diablo. And if I'm not mistaken, Diablo means devil. I know this because I dated a girl once whose mom only spoke Spanish, and that woman used to call me Diablo a lot, so I'm pretty sure that is what it means. Punch cigars have traditionally been made in Honduras, but a few years back they wanted to develop a bolder blend for their line, and they turned to, guess who? The man himself, A.J. Fernandez, to develop the Diablo for them in Nicaragua. The Diablo uses a 4-year-aged Ecuadorian Sumatra Oscuro wrapper. That means it's very dark. Beneath it, a Connecticut broadleaf binder that was aged for 6 years, and then a 4-year-aged blend of Nicaraguan and Honduran Habano Ligero leaves as a part of the filler tobacco. So that's 4 different countries represented in this particular blend of this cigar. It is a really pretty cigar. Almost ashamed to hide this one in a tube. When you pull. Sometimes when you pull a cigar out of the tube, you're like, oh yeah, I can see why they put it in a tube. It's not the prettiest cigar in the world. This one's beautiful, nice and smooth. No, not a lot of noticeable bumps or veins. It had rich and sweet Maduro tobacco notes on the pre-light, along with cedar and a little hint of toasted bread. I used a punch, because it's a punch, and the V-cutter didn't seem appropriate. So I lit the Diablo up, and off we went. Our old friend, the Nicaraguan Pepper Blast, put in an appearance, and I won't sing the Nicaraguan Pepper Blast jingle because Ian's not here. And the whole point of me singing it is to try to urge him to write and record one for us, or at least be able to perform one when he's here. So we'll just skip that. But I did get a little of the NPB, as we like to call it. But it settled down pretty quickly. And when I say settle down, I'm using that as a relative term because from the beginning to the end, this was a very powerful cigar. Definitely not what Ian would call Fisher-Price, my first cigar.
Oh, we sell that punch.
Oh, so you're familiar with what I'm talking about then. It was not, however, lacking in complexity. The black pepper note was there for sure, but the first third also gave me deep chocolate notes, almost like chocolate-covered cherries, with a bit of maltiness and a savory note, too. And as Ian himself would say, solid ash, perfect burn. The ash hung on for quite a while before I got a little nervous and flicked it off into my Star Trek ashtray. I don't know if that's the picture Adam's got up right now, but I don't think it's really a Star Trek ashtray, but it's shaped like the Star Trek logo. So
it's even got pips.
Yeah, I know. It's great. I love it. Anyway, I take that with me because it's small enough. I can wrap it in a bag and stick it in like a shoulder bag or a briefcase or something.
Oh, yeah.
Always have that with me. So if I have the occasion to smoke and know where to ash, now I've got it. So it's my wonderful little Star Trek ashtray. Nice creaminess developed by the second third, and the spiciness evolved from just pepper into a more exotic mix that reminded me a little bit of the spices that you use in Indian food. I don't know what they all are, but I know what they taste like. Lots of smoke, by the way. It was thick and almost chewy. By the final third, I was still loving this dark chocolate cherry note, along with a hint of raisin and a distinct earthiness and even a hint of espresso so. The Diablo was a powerhouse all the way, definitely full-bodied and very strong. Punch apparently wanted their boldest smoke yet, and that's what they got with the Diablo. For a large-sized Robusto that comes in a tube, making it easy to carry along with you, the Diablo Gusto is pretty reasonably priced. It's about $6 to $8 depending on where you get it. Now, I know that I'm an AJ fanboy, but apparently I'm not the only one, because pretty much every major cigar company seems to be reaching out at one point or another to have AJ do a blend for them. I want to ask Alan about this, because I have heard through the grapevine that JFK Jr. is still alive and he's coming back and he's going to run for office. But I'll ask you about that another time, okay? He's apparently been hiding for years with Elvis and Sasquatch. But anyway, we'll discuss that later. I wanted to know, though, if you would support or dismiss this rumor that I have heard that my cigar idol, AJ Fernandez, is kind of a prick.
Kind of. That's like an understatement.
Oh, so this is out there then?
Yeah.
Really? So,
and surprisingly,
now, was he nice to you, or
yeah?
was he rude
So
to you?
he's always going to be nice to
cigar shop.
Well,
Yes.
I didn't meet him when I had the shop.
Okay.
I met him when I was in the industry. We were at an event, and he's always going to be. But he is an ass to the people that work for him.
Really? I so hate to hear that,
and
because I love his stuff.
So here's the best analogy I can give you is an artist, because that's what he is.
Right.
It's their way or the highway.
Right. He's kind of like the rock and roller who just
savant painter that I'm gonna paint like this, and if you added blue, shut up and get out. You don't know.
Shut up and get out. I walk onto stage and slap you.
Yes. Keep my painter's name.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
And he just treats the people that work for him. He went through, I can't tell you, just here in Texas, how many reps and how many sales managers and But if money's involved.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, regardless, the man can blend a freaking cigar. I can tell you that. The Diablo is a powerhouse, definitely not for beginners, but Punch does have plenty of good milder blends in their line, if that's what you are looking for. If you're looking for a strong, intense smoke that you can carry around in your pocket until you're ready for it, the Diablo Gusto is your cigar. At, let's say, $7, price to quality, for those who like them bold, I'd give it a 6. It's a very good cigar, and at a very reasonable price for what you're getting.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you go with the really big powerhouse cigars, they're kind of one or two notes, and this one was definitely complex. So big thumbs up for the Diablo Gusto. So, all right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to get to tasting, and we're going to start with this. You have poured the 14-year Gregarious Grump Cognac. It is cask strength, and this, as you said, is out there now, right? People can find this and buy it.
The 14 is pretty easy to find. You could actually go over to Gulf Coast Distillery, and they have I think they have the entire
retail
line. Yeah, they have a tasting room.
Tasting room, yeah.
So you can taste the whole lineup. The 30 is a little bit harder to find. It's, it's for lack of a better word, Gregarious Grump is a boutique spirit line for right now.
And it's going to have what it's got in terms of,
and so
quantity.
For a boutique line to have a $150 price point, people are going to be like, let me start out with the $60 or $70 and work my way up. Where, having had it one time with Kris, I was like, hey, Travis, can you order me the 30-year? And he was like, he was real hesitant, too.
Really?
Because same thing, boutique line, expensive. Am I going to sell it? And he only orders 2 bottles at a time, but he's on his 4th or 5th order in just a couple of weeks. So.
All right, well, we'll get to tasting when we come back. It's Smoking and Toasting. You are here for show number 276. And don't forget, we're going to debunk a few drinking myths. Oh, and I forgot to mention, Drinking News is on the way. Our Drinking News teaser headline today, holy crap. Welcome back. It's Smokin' and Toastin', show number 276. For those of you tuning in hoping to see Ian, he's not with us this week, but we have sitting in Ian's chair the one and only Mr. Alan Denney.
Hi, Mom.
Our guest co-host. See, then that's part of what Ian says. So the place where that comes from is that I decided when I found out that my mom who neither smokes nor drinks nor hangs out with people that do, except for me. When I found out that she knew that the show existed, I was like, well, that's it. We've achieved world famous status. So that's when we started calling the show the world famous Smoking and Toasting. And so every time I say that, Ian always says, hi, Mom.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm pretty sure she's not watching. She's not interested in what the difference is between the 14-year and the 30-year cognac. That's not going to be of interest to her at all.
My mom has no interest in smoking, drinking, any of that. So
where did we come from?
I don't know.
I have no idea. Well, welcome back to the show. We are holding very nicely apportioned cups of the Gregarious Grump 14-year cognac. I see on the bottle it's 116.4 proof. So this is I can tell just from the nose this is going to pack a little bit of a punch.
A little bit. Yeah. And what's funny is the 30 is 105.
Oh,
yeah.
So this is even more punch than the 30. Is it because does it mellow over time in terms of the proof? Is that why?
This is so fantastic.
Okay. So is it? Does knowing the 30? Because I haven't had either one of them. So does knowing what the 30's like, does that make you appreciate the 14 any less?
Yeah. So
or any more?
Me and Kris were in an event, and he was pouring it. And I tried the 30, and I was like, oh, angels went off, and unicorns were farting, and the whole 9 yards.
I love when that happens.
And I was like, oh, this is great. And then so I tried, I think he had the 18 or the 21 or something, and I tried it, and I was like, oh, this is wow. And then I tried the 14, and I was like, this is amazing. It's not the same, but this is amazing.
Yeah.
And it was, so that's... Wow.
Okay.
The appreciation was there.
It's kind of like, with tequilas, I have a tendency to always want to go straight to the Añejo or even the Añejo Extra. But there's some very good Reposado and Blanco tequilas out there. It is a different experience, even though I have a tendency to always lean towards the more aged because I like those notes that the tequila has a tendency to get once it's aged a little further. But
yeah, people tend to forget where the flavor comes from. Mm-hmm. And that's... Yeah, you get the mash bill, but the flavor comes from the barrels. From
the aging, the whole aging process, however it is aged. Well, this is incredibly good. It definitely packs a punch. It was distilled, it said, in 2007, bottled in 2021, fully matured in the Cognac region of France. So did Kris go over to France and source this? How did this come about?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I can't answer that. I believe so.
Yeah.
But I'm not 100%. And I believe his sweet little ginger self is out in California right now. So,
we had Greg Doxakis, on the show last week, along with Kelsey, and I'll get back to that in a minute. But he, of course, gets to go to France because he is
he knows
working
a thing
for
or two
Maison
about
Ferrand.
cognac.
Yeah, and I actually just like having him on the show just so he can say French words and because he's got the accent. It's pretty. I'll tell you what, it's a little sexy. You know?
Oui, oui. Yeah. Oh, Cruz, it's so good to see you.
Yeah,
I sound like Pepe Le Pew.
Yeah, I was going to say it's much better than that. But no, he had. So we had this great thing that happened on the show last week. If you didn't get a chance to see it, and even if you did see the show but didn't see, it's happened almost at the end of the show, which is a good enough reason to watch all the way through if you're going back to it. But Docs with Maison Ferrand and Plantation Rum brought along an intern that's working for them named Kelsey.
I saw the picture, but normally y'all say who's on the show, but I never heard anything.
I don't even know Kelsey's last name. Doc's just introduced her as Kelsey, and off we went. I suppose I should. Well, I guess her last name is Brown, and I'll tell you how I know that because we were almost done with the show. I was just hoping that Docs would say a few more things with the French accent before we wrapped it up, and Ian chimed in that we'd gotten a very negative note on the comment feed on Facebook Live.
Was it Bruce?
No. Surprisingly, it wasn't. And Ian's like, we've never gotten a negative comment on here before. And I said, well, we've got negative reviews. But he goes, no, not on the comment feed. And he kept and he read it, and it was a comment that it was really terrible what we were doing because we were encouraging people to drink. And Docs, of course, jumped on and said, "No, we're not encouraging people to drink. We're encouraging people to drink plantation rum." And that was his Docs moment. And then Ian couldn't quite get over it. He loved it actually that we got a negative comment. So you guys feel free to send negative comments to Ian anytime you want to. But he kept going back to it and I said, "Well, who is it?" He says, "The name says Gloria Brown." He's like, then he kept going, "Who is Gloria Brown? Does anybody know Gloria Brown?" He asked that several times. My wife was here. She was looking up Gloria Brown on Facebook trying to find, who it might be. And finally, Ian says again, "Does anybody know Gloria Brown?" And Kelsey, the intern, she goes, "I didn't want to say, but that's my mom." And as it turns out, it really was her mom. And I was like, "Does your mom know what you do for a living?" But turns out she does, and she's not
happy about it.
She's not real happy about it. Yeah. So we all pretty much lost it at that point because it was just so unexpected.
It's not like she's slinging Malort or something.
No. It's actually good juice.
She's not going around Malorting people.
If you've never had Malort,
don't.
Congratulations. Yeah.
You won.
Well, this is quite good, Alan. This is. I get that you've got a 30, but even if you didn't, I'd be pretty high on this right here.
Yeah, the 14, it's fantastic. It really is.
It really is. Let me reach into my bag of tricks.
The thing that really surprises me about it is you can taste the grapes in this. Oh.
Right. It is very grapey. You're absolutely right. And that isn't always apparent in a cognac. Sometimes the other notes make it taste a little less grapey, but here it is. Yeah, big time grapey. Almost reminds me of a grappa in some way, which is very grapey, or at least the ones I've had are. We've never done a grappa on the show, and maybe we should. The few times in my life I've had grappa, those were interesting nights. I can just tell you, there's something about that stuff that that just did me in. But we'll once we get Uber on as a sponsor of the show, which I'm thinking they're the perfect sponsor, right?
They won't.
I know they won't. But
we've tried to.
They'd be perfect though, wouldn't they? Yeah.
They're missing out by not getting sponsorships with drinking programs, drinking events.
I realize they don't want to be associated with it, and I know that Uber drivers are hesitant sometimes to pick up people who've been drinking because they might throw up in the back of their car. But never do they make any more money than when the bars close. I'm telling you. So that is Uber feast time.
I guess it's related a little bit. You and your wife a fan of good TV?
Yeah.
Showtime.
Yeah.
Super Pumped.
So I have not seen that.
It's the story of Uber.
Oh, yes, I know about it. I haven't watched it. I've got it in my queue, actually.
And let me tell you what, super pumped is the great word for it. I mean, did you ever watch Billions?
Mm-hmm.
Are you watching it now?
I have not seen, I've seen everything except the newest season.
Okay. Even last season, it kind of went super high and then it's kind of making that curve, as a lot of shows do.
Mm-hmm. Well, when they lost Axe, I was like, okay, I won't stop watching it. There's enough good stuff here, but it's definitely going to be hard for him to live on without Axe, I think. He was, in my mind, Paul Giamatti's great, but Damian Lewis was the star of that show.
Yeah.
I'm
a big fan of Maggie Siff because she's a cigar smoker. But
yeah, she's awesome.
Yes, she is.
But anyway, but yes, I will definitely watch Super Pumped. That does sound like something's right up my alley. I've been watching this Inventing Anna show on Netflix.
I binged it in like a day and a half.
I'm like 2 episodes away from the end, so don't tell me what happens.
I'm pretty sure
I'm pretty sure she goes to prison. Yeah. All right, let's try some blonde ale. See if you. Oh yeah, if you can do the famous smoking and toasting can open. That was quite good. Ian, I don't know if you're watching the show or not, but if you are, your job could be in jeopardy. That was really good.
And I'm getting a pay raise.
That's right.
Something from nothing is nothing.
That's right. Well, you know how it is here on Smoking and Toasting. We always try to make sure that our producer gets some good booze because keeps him from asking for more money.
And we've got 2 producers, so making sure that...
So we've got Doug stepping in, who's going to be taking over once Adam moves away from us, and we're still a little pissed with Adam about this, but you have a beautiful wife and she gets a great job, you gotta go. You don't want to do the long distance relationship.
Look,
that doesn't make sense.
If Brianna texted me and said, "Hey, Alan, I'm moving to DC. Do you want to go?"
You would say yes.
I'd go, "Hey, Adam, I'm moving in with y'all."
All right, so we are trying. Let's show this can to the camera here. We are trying this Galveston Island.
Right,
which one do you want him showing? That looks that one right there. Okay, it's the Galveston. You do that well. You're very Vanna-ish when you do that. Galveston Island Brewing Company. This is their blonde ale. It is called Mardi Gras, and what a lot of people don't know is that Galveston has a Mardi Gras celebration as well.
People don't know that.
Well,
I can't tell.
A lot of people only think Mardi Gras happens in New Orleans.
They are wrong.
Yeah, it happens in Mobile, Alabama. It happens in Galveston, and a lot of other places as well. Now, admittedly, the Galveston celebration isn't as likely to involve enormous, crazy floats from the different crews as what you get in New Orleans.
Yeah, it does.
But I realize it does. It's just not quite as
it's
over the top.
I didn't know where other ones were, like Mobile, but I do know Galveston's the second largest Mardi Gras celebration in the world. Mm-hmm. And one of the chairman of the board or heads of it is Tillman.
Okay.
And
so there you go.
So Jonathan, the Zendadell, attorney, one of the other owners of Galveston Island Cigar Lounge. Jonathan is friends with Tillman, and he's on that board with him. Mm-hmm. And
for the Mardi Gras board.
Yeah, and as Mardi Gras gets closer, you see Jonathan less and less and less. And I've got some friends that are on different crews down there, and it amazes the parades they put on. Pretty spectacular.
Pretty spectacular, and definitely. And I've not been to one of the Galveston parades, but I have been down in the middle of the bead throwing and boob flashing. So that's always fun.
That's really going away.
It really kind of is, isn't it? Yeah.
You know why?
Why? Oh, because anybody that does that can be documented.
Yeah, back in the day, I can remember when I was in high school, early years of college, we had those Kodak.
The instant
ones. You had to go down and have them developed, and you hoped you got a good shot of a nipple.
Yeah,
and you'd have some girl.
There's our quote for the show. You hoped you got a good shot of a nipple.
Yeah, and you're sitting there taking pictures, but now you just put it on video, and you've got the whole thing. And
you got the whole thing, and it gets posted.
Yeah, and it's automatically uploaded to the internet. Oh, look what I saw 10 seconds after they did it.
You're right, and that has because it used to happen a lot at concerts too. Yeah, especially like big rock concerts. There'd be flashing done from people who were up on the shoulders of someone else. So everybody now you're right, absolutely right. There's hundreds of cameras that are on right now.
Sure.
And they will all catch you. So you're absolutely right. It's that's bringing about an end to an American tradition.
Yeah, for real. Well, there's a concert I'm looking forward to this summer.
Yeah,
Def Leppard, Motley Crue.
I just heard, and that's the one that's been rescheduled like 5 times because of COVID, right? Yeah.
Technically 4, 3, but then
I was
4.
exaggerating, but it has been a lot.
It got rescheduled over and over and over and over again.
And Def Leppard just put out new music too. Yeah. I just heard one of their. I heard a song called "Kick" the other day, which actually wasn't bad.
I'm looking forward to ZZ Top's new album. They recorded something right before Dusty died. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it was filmed at the Green in New Braunfels.
Wow. By the way, if you have never seen the ZZ Top documentary,
you got to watch it.
You got to watch it. I believe it's on Netflix.
Netflix.
Yeah. It's definitely worth watching. So in the meantime, we're kind of sipping away at this Mardi Gras blonde ale from Galveston Island Brewing. What are your thoughts on this, Alan?
Oh, it's fantastic. It's light,
very drinkable.
Yeah. I mean, this is. We had the St. Arnold's, what's the H-Town earlier, and
the show beer.
Yeah, that's definitely when it's hot outside and that's ice cold. That's a go-to. This is really good.
Mm-hmm. Kind of digging it myself. It goes down very easy. Does it say what the ABV is on the can? I'm assuming that it's fairly low.
5.2.
5.2. Well, that's more than I actually expected, but it goes down very easy. It's very refreshing, and it reminds me of the fact that just because a beer is not a big beer doesn't mean it has to be flavorless.
Correct.
Or that it has to taste like a Bud Light. It's just this would just absolutely blow away any mega beer for the same, intensity,
100%.
the same ABV, the same price, really, because it's not an expensive one. I think it was
so
$2
close your
can.
eyes before you take this sip, and this is what I get off this beer on the back end and on the nose. I get butter.
Yes,
and I get a combination of Ritz crackers and club crackers,
all of which are very
back.
buttery.
Yes,
yeah. So I like it. Captain's wafers.
Yeah.
I love going to those old school steakhouses where they have the little basket of Captain's wafers.
Oh, me too.
And while you're
I'm
waiting
eating all
for
of
your
them.
salad to come, you're just unwrapping like 9 of those things
You
of
were
Captain's
cheaper
wafers.
off bringing me bread.
That's absolutely right. Well, this is quite good, and I enjoyed it as a compliment of sorts to the Gregarious Grump. So we will take a break, and when we come back, we're going to go for a little of the 30. Plus, we will get ready for our next beer as well. But we'll do just the 30 next. This is the 30-year Gregarious Grump Cognac, and he hasn't given it like an additional name. It's just Gregarious Grump
Just
Cognac.
Gregarious
right?
Grump, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So this is almost as good as the can.
Ooh, very nicely done. Somewhere Ian felt a cold shiver run down his spine. It's Smoking and Toasting. We'll be right back. Show number 276. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Show number 276. We are all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. And there's a new list on Thrillist of the 10 best spring beers. They are primarily saisons and pilsners. And see, even when I say saison, it doesn't have that same. If Docs were here and said saison, it would sound really
saison.
good. All we can do is try. I want to read you a few of the beers mentioned on Thrillist. If you're in the mood for spring and ready to get your spring on, they suggest Industrial Arts Spring Landscape from Industrial Arts Brewing in Garnersville, New York. They have become a household name in some of the craft beer community, and they do a lot of IPAs and DPAs. But despite their notoriety for that, the brewery's much more than just a hop-focused operation, as evidenced by this year's spring release in the Landscape series. It's a Helles Bock, and it is called Spring Landscape. So look for that, Industrial Arts. Woven Water Brewing Anomaly has released a 5.2 ABV beer. They are out of Tampa, Florida, and this is a hoppy lager brewed with malted oats to help flesh out the beer's body and provide a creamier mouthfeel. Drowned Lands Gather House. So far, by the way, these are all beers I have not heard of.
Never.
So I'm really excited to be looking for these. This is out of Warwick, New York. Drowned Lands strikes a perfect landing, they say, with their take on a historically Belgian beer, maintaining both a refreshing flavor profile that's still rich, full-bodied, and creamy on the palate. Back Home Beers New Day IPA from Brooklyn, New York is an IPA at 6.5. They're saying it's a wonderful spring IPA. From Chicago, Illinois, Dovetail Brewing, their Dovetail Maybach. Is it Maybach or Maybach?
Maybach.
Say it again?
Maybach.
Maybach. Okay, I was right the first time. Maybach. And then Saison DuPont, which is out of Belgium. And the Schilling Karlov 13 out of Littleton, New Hampshire. It is definitely not a hazy IPA, which is what they are best known for there, but it's a toasty, malt-driven flavor profile that brings up hints of freshly baked rye bread, but manages to stay crisp and refreshing. And then there's, I just like this name, Humble Sea Deep Fog, D-E-E-E-E-P, Fog, yeah. It is a foggy double IPA, a very dense atmospheric soup, and then finally the 18th Street Brewery's Best Patio Pills out of Hammond, Indiana. So just some names you might want to start looking for at your favorite beer shop.
They did not list my favorite.
And what is your favorite spring beer?
So I'm a Yangling guy.
Yeah?
And I always have been, and hard to get for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But have you had the Yangling Pilsner?
I don't know if I've had the Pilsner.
So
I've had the Yuengling and the Yuengling Light. I've had both of those.
The only place I know to get the Yuengling Pilsner, there's 2 places. One, H-E-B.
Oh, they do have it.
The H-E-B in League City on 646, and I know the H-E-B in Friendswood both have it.
Okay.
So you've got to go to the big H-E-Bs.
Right.
And then because I requested it, Galveston, or Economy Liquor
in Galveston.
On the West End in Galveston. And the reason they brought it in, so buddy of mine, we were talking about him before the show, Doug Meisinger.
Mm-hmm.
So Doug opened up a place in Kemah called the Vinyl Draft Social Club.
Mm-hmm.
It is a private members club, steaks, great whiskey selection, and cigars.
Nice.
All under one roof.
Nice.
And it's out in Kemah, so check it out. But because I'm a member there and I wanted Yuengling Pilsner, he made sure to get with Travis to make sure Travis brought it in. So
it tells you something about my guest co-host, that when he asks a liquor store if they wouldn't mind stocking something, they're only too happy to comply.
Yeah, because I'm going to buy it.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
if they keep it, I'm going to buy it.
I love St. Arnold's Springbok.
Yeah, it's really good.
That they put out. I think that's just a wonderful beer, and I look forward to it every year. In fact, it should be hitting the shelves about now.
The one thing that scares me about that list is it's the same thing. It's the problem all of us that are craft beer connoisseurs run into. I'm willing to bet at least 5 of the 10 on that list we can't buy.
Right, but there may be people that are listening to the show in other areas, of course, that can find it. So
and they can't get.
Which is why we put this out. Right, and we talk about St. Arnold all the time, and
I can't get St. Arnold.
You can't get St. Arnold outside of Texas. But I promise you this: anybody that wants to contact us and do a beer swap of stuff that we can't get from your area, we'll send you some of the greatest Texas beers, and there's some great ones.
There are some good beers.
Yeah, so we'll do a beer swap. We're always up for that. All right, you've teased me about how good this is. This is the Gregarious Grump 30, the cognac, the 30-year cognac.
The nose is fantastic.
It really is.
The nose just starts, and it never gets bad.
It's a very different nose from the 14,
completely.
isn't it? Yeah, it's just
Completely.
Yeah, it almost promises to be even smoother. And
Wade Woodard's favorite word.
Okay, I'm going to have to say, wow.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
That is just complex and wonderful.
Yeah, and you wouldn't believe how many people I've turned on to this. Here, have a little guys that they either have a really good palate with whiskey, or they appreciate good cognacs and armagnacs. I'll let try it. If you're a guy that comes in and drinks Jack and Coke, stop looking at my bottle.
Right, because it's not something that you're going to be likely to really enjoy and get the fullness out of, because of where your palate is. But wow, that is sensational. It really is. And is this about $150?
$150, yeah.
Wow. So this is something I would put on that sort of super premium level with the the 25-year Flor de Caña.
Yeah.
The tequila from Jose Cuervo, the Reserva de la Familia, all in the same general price range, and this definitely hits right up there with those.
Yeah, I like the Cuervo de la Familia. That is my favorite tequila of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Can I say it's better or worse than this? No, but it's in the ballpark with what this
is in the discussion.
Yeah,
it's definitely
100%.
in that discussion.
100%.
It's really, really good. I'm going to just savor and nurture this while we take a quick break. And when we come back, we have more beers to taste. We are going to jump into something that I've been actually really excited about sampling, and that is the Lagunitas Unrefined Shugga. It's a strong ale with whole cane sugar, and we have, of course, our walking stick bourbon to taste, and we have, Drinking News is also on before long, so we'll look forward to that. It's Smoking and Toasting, show number 276, and we will be right back. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. We are the program that's all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. And we are now in the black, ladies and gentlemen. Apparently, during the break, our producer, Adam, on the Wheels of Steel, just told me that we just made 50 cents on Facebook. They have that thing now where you can buy stars and then award stars to your favorite posters or people doing videos or whatever.
Thank you, Curtis Brown.
Somebody just gave us 50 stars. We are 50 cents in the black today.
Curtis,
I'm so excited.
If you come to the store on Monday when we're filming, I will give you a pour of this 30-year. If you want to try it, I'll have it.
Wow. There you go. Yeah. Galveston Island Cigar Lounge.
Galveston Island Cigar Lounge.
Fantastic. And we'll be there next week.
Yeah.
So,
everybody should come, show up. Ian and Cruz will be signing autographs. You do have to bring your own memorabilia. I will forge Chris Hart's signature on bottles if that's what
good.
you want.
That's good to know. Yeah. So people should definitely come and visit. So there are a number of myths about booze that have gained popularity over the years, and they just aren't true. So we're going to be Mythbusters today, along with a great story that came out on VinePair, which is an awesome website, by the way.
So like BuzzFeed?
If you don't, it kind of is, except not. And no, but I spent some time on BuzzFeed too, people are talking about. People are talking about drinking myths, and I'm losing my mind. That's how all the BuzzFeed headlines are.
Yeah.
Something's happening, and I can't believe it.
New video of Chris Tucker's come out. It was from 2010.
Right, exactly.
It's like, come on, man.
I love how they have slowed down that slap from the Oscars so many times. Yeah.
The best thing I've seen, and I don't want to dwell in it because whether it was real or not, I don't know, but the best thing I've seen. I didn't even know the Oscars were on until Will Smith hit Chris Rock.
Yeah, exactly. That's for sure. So let's look at some of these drinking myths and expose them for the myths that they are, thanks to VinePair, which is, again, a fine website. We've all heard these myths that, parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles tell us if you keep making that face, it'll stick like that. Those kind of things. Can't go in the water after you eat
for so long.
Yeah, exactly. We've all heard this sort of scary advice, but when it comes to drinking, let's debunk some of these right now. There is no such thing as beer before liquor, never sicker. You've heard that before, right? If you have beer before you have your liquor, you're gonna get sick. But beer before liquor, liquor before beer. Either way, drink enough of either in any order, and you will be sick. Yeah. If you moderate, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But having the beer first does not impact that. So that's that myth. Consider that myth debunked. Now this one I'm really happy to debunk. Booze does not kill brain cells.
Really?
Booze is not a brain cell assassin, despite the fact that basically no one on earth has ever danced on the bar sober or well. The explanation is not alcohol has assassinated their brain cells. Booze will not kill your brain cells, though it absolutely will damage your dendrites. And no, those aren't tooth-related neurons. They're responsible for picking up information from neighboring neurons and transferring that information to the cell body, also known as the soma. Basically, dendrites are gateways of information. So when your brain is trying to tell you, don't coyote ugly this, and then you go ahead and coyote ugly it, you know why. Booze has not killed your brain cells. It's your brain.
Cruz, I love you.
Yeah, exactly. The cheaper the wine, the worse the hangover.
Absolutely false.
Absolutely false. Yep. If you think you got that massive crushing hangover from drinking 6 glasses of cheap wine from a bottle with a stiletto on the label, nope, you got that hangover from the way your body metabolizes alcohol and sugar, and that's just it.
It's usually the sugars that give you the bad hangovers.
My ex-wife used to like to make sangria. And
real sangria?
Yeah. So she would go to the liquor store to buy the cheap red wine in the big jugs, because that's what you want when you're making sangria. And this is absolutely true. She felt like she had to tell the checkout clerk that she was making sangria, so they wouldn't think she was taking this big bottle of wine home and had really bad taste in wine.
Did she not realize you're still going home to drink cheap wine.
Yeah,
you're
you absolutely are. You're just
going
to add fruit to it.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, there's a lot of things.
As if that makes it better.
There are a lot of things she didn't realize. Greasy food does not cure hangovers.
Well, nothing cures hangover but time.
Yeah, that's not entirely true.
It just makes you feel better. There's something in it. Come on, who hasn't at 2 o'clock in the morning stopped by Jack in the Box and gotten Jack in the Box tacos?
Yeah, that's true. Those tacos are. That's just a fact of life.
Yeah.
For after the club.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just a fact of life. And people in other states won't understand this, but Taco Cabana is also a perfect thing to go for.
In the 90s,
and in the north they do White Castle.
Yeah, which we don't have. If in the 90s somebody had put a Jack in the Box on one side and a Taco Cabana on the other of numbers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They'd have made a fortune.
Oh, they would have killed it, at least from
in the 80s.
1:30 to 2:30 in the morning.
Absolutely. They do say it's good to eat some food before drinking.
Sure.
It doesn't necessarily have to make the paper bag all oily. You are less likely to get a hangover that way because even though alcohol acts like a hot girl on a club line shoving its way into the bloodstream / nightclub in front of anything else that wants to be digested, you will have some mitigating protein and calories in your system if you have some food before you start drinking. So that's greasy food after the drinking, however, will do absolutely nothing. The alcohol has already been absorbed.
Just makes you feel
You may
better.
make yourself, depending on what you actually eat, it may or may not make you feel better. The belly, isn't from beer. You always say, well, if you drink too much beer, you're going to get the beer belly. Drink enough beer, you will get a gut, but not because the beer has some sort of special access to your stomach. Because beer's high in calories and lower in ABV than most alcoholic beverages, you generally will drink more beer if you're looking for a buzz, and that can contribute to the beer belly. But it isn't really a beer belly. Beer doesn't have any secret access code to that part of your body. It just adds to the overall calories that you're consuming.
Tell my stomach that.
Exactly. And there ain't no seal to break. Let me explain this one. You've been drinking. You're tipsy. Best euphemism ever, right? And you finally go to the bathroom. Then, now that you finally go, you've broken the seal. Have you heard this before?
And I go every 20 minutes or less.
Or wait, you absolutely didn't. First of all, the concept of a seal is a little bit creepy. But also in terms of science, and there is some sciencey stuff to booze, the reason that you keep peeing isn't because you finally went. It's just because you've been drinking lots of liquids. That's it.
And we all drink water in between, so it just makes us want to pee more.
Of course we do.
Yes.
Nightcap ain't the right cap is our final. Yeah, we've already copyrighted that at Vine Pair, they say, in case you're wondering. But while the whole drink will send me into a deep, restful dreamland is a total lie. Booze can actually help healthy people fall asleep quicker and sleep more deeply for a while, per WebMD. Everyone's favorite, what is this weird rash panic site?
Yeah.
But it actually reduces REM sleep, which is not when you fall asleep with losing my religion playing in your head. Rapid eye movement sleep is kind of, it's the real restful, deep sleep. If you lose your REM or REM, you lose your rest, and that is basically it. So drinking for a nightcap to put you to sleep, not necessarily. That doesn't necessarily work like you think it does.
But if I drink enough all night long, when I get to go to sleep, I don't need a nightcap.
There you go. See, that's the common sense that needs to be applied to all of these things. Common sense is important, especially when you're drinking. So now we've debunked some drinking myths. Now it's time to drink. Let's try some Lagunitas here. This is
unrefined sugar. I was looking at the ABV on that.
Yeah.
This sucker 10%.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's unrefined Shugga strong ale with whole cane sugar and 10% ABV.
That was disappointing. It didn't have much of a pop.
It wasn't bad. But here, I'll teach you a secret, though. Hand me the bottle cap. The secret to the sound effect is that once you pop it off of the bottle, you do this.
Okay.
And you get that extra little bottle cap sound. Yeah. But thank you for, normally Ian does the pours here, so I appreciate you stepping in and doing this here. And I'm very proud, by the way, of my La Paulina Cigars bottle opener here. That's pretty cool. We also have the Smoking and Toasting bottle openers, but I forgot to bring one. So La Paulina it is. All right. Oh, careful there.
I didn't spill it.
And nice job, by the way. So this is Lagunitas Unrefined Shugga. It's a strong ale brewed with whole cane sugar. It's got the little dog with the pipe in his mouth, and a strong ale. I'm not sure exactly what makes something a strong ale by style.
There probably is no definition of that other than them saying it's a strong ale.
Mm-hmm, probably so. I don't see anything on here other than alcohol 10% by volume and life is uncertain, don't sip.
Man, I'm going to tell you what, the nose on this is fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, boy, it really does. Now, it's very interesting. I like Lagunitas very much as a brewery, and they are completely unafraid to try new and interesting and different styles of beer. You're right. Love the nose.
That's new and interesting.
What's your take on it? Do you like it?
It's like they made an IPA with raw cane sugar. I don't get ale out of this at all.
Well, 12 fluid ounces of malt, hops, yeast, water, and cane sugar is what it says. I get all of those things here. And you can definitely tell it's high ABV.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little boozy, but especially on the finish.
This is one even... I could drink this. Mm-hmm. This isn't. It's not an IPA. It's unpalatable for me.
I do think Ian would like this. This seems to match his palate pretty nicely.
This would. We've had it out of the ice chest now for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and this is something I would have to drink ice cold.
Yeah.
For me to be really happy about drinking this, it would have to be ice cold.
I think it's really good. It's what's interesting to me about it, and it took a few sips before I really noticed this, but after the finish, you kind of get this on your tongue, the back of your tongue, and on your palate. You almost like the feeling that you'd sucked on a piece of sugar cane.
Yeah,
I get sugary, but not processed sugar.
I get burnt brown sugar.
Mm-hmm. And there's a maltiness to it as well. It's definitely got hops.
Yeah,
no question.
Oh, it's hoppy.
But there's a maltiness to it as well that's kind of a little bit under the surface. That's a little bit of where that burnt brown sugar vibe comes from that you were talking about.
Like maybe burnt brown sugar, maybe charred sugar cane. Like you put some sugar cane on the grill, let it burn up, let it crystallize just a little bit, and then eat that sugar cane.
That sounds like a great idea, by the way.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Try that.
So my wife, she cooked barbecue chicken on the grill the other night, and she took pineapple spears.
Ooh.
And they were in coconut water.
Yeah. Ah, I'm liking it already.
Then she took them out of the coconut water and threw them on the grill.
Good stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Good stuff. So I mentioned earlier that I was going to ask you this. What's your favorite cigar that you've smoked in the last month or so? Being at a place like Galveston Island Cigar Lounge, you get the opportunity to try,
a lot,
quite a bit of stuff, right?
Plus so what has coming in?
Anything has struck you that you've been given or pulled out of the humidor yourself?
So yeah, so my favorite cigar in our humidor. I have two. They're both price point conscious. Mm-hmm. If I want under $10, my favorite cigar in the humidor is the Oscar Barber Pole 2012.
The Barber Pole, really?
Yeah, I love that cigar.
And Ian just talked about that cigar a few weeks ago.
I absolutely love that cigar. I've got guys that buy it by the box, and somebody comes in and, what's your favorite? Well, the Oscar Barber Pole 2012. That's only $9.99. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to rip you off. Now, if any
money's
cigar,
no object,
money's no object in my humidor, it's the H. Upman 175. Yeah, I see the look by your face.
How can you go wrong with that cigar? Again, AJ Fernandez.
You can. It's expensive. It's gone up. It's either $19.99 now or $21. It's gone up
like
a couple
$17,
bucks.
right?
Yeah, but that was 3 years ago for 2 or 3 years ago when it first came out, and so every cigar company had price increases. couple of months ago,
yeah,
after the first of the year. And some cigars went up as little as 5%. So you're talking might be 20, 25 cents a stick. Some of them went up 2, 3. Padron went up considerably.
Did they do kind of a skelly? Just boom, they went from...
No, nothing outrageous. The more expensive the cigar, obviously, at a same type of price increase.
Scale, yeah.
They, so you had like the HM 175 that went from, I think it was $17.99. It went to $19.99.
Wow.
Padron's
it's still worth it, guys.
Yeah,
it's still
100%,
worth it.
100%. But I actually got to try something that I had never had before, and it was absolutely fantastic. So, friend of mine, Kris and Carrie Pretorius, she is the manager at the Republic Humidor in New Braunfels. Great little cigar shop right there in the green, actually. Kris is in the military, and they came down for their anniversary last weekend. And Kris gave me a deliverance from, not sure if it's Black Works or Black Label Trading. They're together.
Right.
Fantastic. You talk about just in your face, full bodied, the Maduro on it. I'm not actually even sure if it was Connecticut broadleaf or if it was Mexican San Andreas, but it had all the, no matter which it was, and I really couldn't tell, it had all that sweetness that you get from a Maduro, but you talk about full flavor punch.
Huh? Yeah. Love it.
It was a powerhouse.
Love it. The punch that I talked about earlier in the show is actually the most powerful cigar that I've had in a while. My sweet spot is usually medium to full, like right in that middle zone between what you call medium and what you call full. But it was a lot of fun having something that big for a change.
Yeah. So, you want some bad news?
Okay.
You're not gonna like this.
Okay.
EP Carrillo.
Yeah.
I'm fans. I'm friends. They're family.
Love it.
Have eliminated the ringmaster.
Why?
So Ernesto did what I think is very smart.
Yeah.
He took his top-selling lines.
This isn't like Trump saying Putin's smart, is it?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, good.
He took his top-selling lines and got rid of everything else.
So he only kept the best sellers in the company.
And it makes sense because a lot of Ringmaster, and I'm exaggerating, or I'm just kind of...
Ian was a big fan of the Ringmaster.
Yeah, I was too. Maybe he's only selling it to 30 shops nationwide.
Right.
And maybe those 30 shops are each buying 10 boxes and they're selling it like hotcakes. But when you only have 30 shops buying it, you can't continue to use it.
Sure.
He went from, when I was with the company, a price sheet that was very small print, 2 sides, back, front and back, to one side that's not that big a print and it's not full thing. So of course they kept Lost Story and Encore and Pledge. They kept the inch, but they eliminated one blend of the inch, eliminated a size and all the inch. They kept Dusk, New Wave Connecticut. That might be it. I'm forgetting something. But
as long as they don't stop making the Encore, because
they'll never.
Holy cow, that's a good cigar.
Encore and Pledge are cash cows.
Yeah,
you know,
Pledge is terrific.
I bet that those 2 cigars are half of the company's sales.
I still remember when we went to, it was during the middle of the pandemic, so first time any of us had gone out to do anything. We, you and your wife and Ian, his wife, my wife and I, we went in together on one of those
the comedy
tinted
event.
tables at the Bill Burr concert.
Fantastic.
And it was so much fun being out. And of course, it was outdoors. Everybody had the masks on, but you were also kind of sectioned in with just your people.
Yeah.
And they would bring around drinks and stuff, but you brought some Pledge. It was Encores.
I brought
or Pledges?
Encores.
You brought Encores.
I thought I might have brought Pledges. But
I thought it was the
Encores.
Pledge, but
I could
wow,
have been.
that was so much fun just standing out there, listening to the comics, smoking that wonderful cigar. It's just, that's a special kind of burned in my brain memory.
Yeah, and there's something about you, me, Ian, our wives, we're all fans of comedy. We all love stand-up. And it's great to go out to the Improv and see a show. And the show that they're doing tonight is the same show they're doing in Oklahoma City next weekend, and Dallas and Tulsa. But Bill Burr, when he was doing it, you knew he'd done some research on Houston. Because he was talking about the Pierce Elevated there and traffic and talking about 45. So
and he's going to customize wherever he is the same way.
And that's cool. There's something... hometowny about that. It was kind of fun.
Yeah. And it's not just token. Like the most token I ever can remember is I saw Loverboy perform once years ago in San Antonio, and I still remember Mike Reno. After the second or third song, when the band finally stops to catch their breath for a second, and he's holding the mic, he's like, "Good evening, San Antonio." He totally didn't even know where he was. Somebody off stage had to mouth it to him. Yeah, right, exactly.
And we're going to the lake walk. Oh, river walk tonight.
Right, exactly. Exactly. All right, we're going to take a break and come back. It is about to be whiskey time. It is about to be drinking news time, and we're going to try some of this walking stick if we think we can do it. So, and I think we can do it. It's Smoking and Toasting. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting, show number 276. We're all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. Alan Denney is my guest co-host this week. Ian is out of town. He will be back next week. And next week we will be on remote location at Mr. Denney's fine establishment in Galveston.
Smoke on the show.
It's going to be exciting. Yes, always enjoy when we do finally get to smoke on the show. We do plenty of drinking on the show here in the confines of the studio, but obviously we can't smoke here, so we will be looking forward to smoking, and I hope you'll set aside a couple of good things for me and put them on my tab.
Oh, we'll have some stuff.
All right, that'll be good. All right, time, ladies and gentlemen, for what has become one of the most popular segments on the program for completely inexplicable reasons. It's time for drinking news.
There's a podcast all about cigars and booze. Hanging out every week with Ian and Cruz. For spirited discussion and cigar reviews. And the segment known around the world is Drinking News. It's Drinking News. It's what I love. Me and a Florida man and a bottle of rum. I'll pour another round. What do we got to lose? Let me tell you a story, swear to God it's true. Well, a night on the town, we took a turn to the south. When I started drinking that whiskey and running my mouth, I belly up to the bar, another round or two. That's when the gambler said, I got a bet for you. He gave us 7 to 1. You know we couldn't lose. So me and a Florida man fought a kangaroo. We went a couple of rounds and beat us black and blue. Lord, I hope we don't wind up on drinking news. On drinking news. On drinking news. Mama, I hope I don't wind up on drinking news.
The illustrious Chris Morris, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm
With
pretty
Drinking
sure
News.
y'all reincarnated Johnny Cash.
I'm pretty sure we did. I was thinking, Adam, and I know Adam's got so much on his plate right now, but wouldn't it be great if you could take a whole bunch of the Drinking News photos that we've used during the different segments and make a montage of them to that song? It would be kind of like a video, kind of like the opening, where we do the montage of different. It would just be funny to see all of the mug shots and
Oh, yeah.
kangaroos and alligators and all the various things that make up the Drinking News photos that we like to post for those of you who watch the show on YouTube or on Facebook. Well, today's Drinking News story explores the incredible powers of poop. We all know that in the cycle of nature, in the circle of life, if you will, that poop is a naturally, actually life-giving substance. I mean, sure, it smells bad. And in the case of some people, it smells even worse than others. But the fact is that it is an essential part of the building blocks of life. We were surprised to learn that there is actually something called the Bristol Stool Scale, and it describes in detail the 7 different kinds of poop. We will spare you the rather intense description of each of the 7 types, but if you're curious, you can look it up on Wikipedia, where, as it's always important for us to remind you, everything you read is true. If it's on Wikipedia, it's fact. Clang. Not really.
I need more liquor.
Yeah. But yes, you can find the Bristol Stool Scale on Wikipedia. If you are so inclined, look it up. You'll thank me later. You won't thank me later. Without poop, crops wouldn't grow, and we'd all get hungry, unable to create poop, and the cycle itself would collapse. So poop is very important. And in addition to those scientific reasons why poop is actually a good thing, even though we may not think of it that way, one lesser-known quality of the turd is its superpower ability to fight crime. I will explain. A Florida man
Go figure.
was brought down by dung this week, convicted by crap, done in by duty. And in this case, it was the lowly dog turd that did it. 62-year-old William Carroll of Florida, because Florida, decided to rob a woman who was out walking her dog on Monday night. The woman's pup had stopped in a stairway to poop at her residence near the 2900 block of Northeast 7th Avenue in Miami, and as the woman stepped down to pick up the poop, Carroll approached her from behind, pushed her against a wall, and then pulled out a knife and started to strangle her, according to police reports. Carroll tried to take off her watch and bracelets, but only managed to take her book bag and a bag containing her wallet and credit cards, according to the police report. A witness says they saw Carroll robbing the woman and screamed that he was going to call the police, the report said, but Carroll just yelled at him to shut up. By the way, don't just scream you're going to call the police. Call the freaking police. Yeah, I mean, that's what they're there for, right? Anyway, the woman, during this altercation, using the only weapon available to her at that time, attempted to resist by using the poop as a deterrent. She just bent down to pick it up, right? While it didn't stop Carroll from robbing her, it turned out to be very important because when police caught up with him, Carroll, of course, denied that he had anything to do with it. He had said he hadn't robbed the woman, and he didn't even know what they were talking about. Police, however, were able to positively link him to the crime thanks to the big brown poop stain on his shirt. So the next time you crinkle up your nose because one of your buddies came over to your house and destroyed your bathroom by dropping a big deuce in your toilet and then claiming that it wasn't him, remember that the woman and her dog in Miami will have justice and her things back thanks to the wonderful powers of waste. We're considering commemorating this event with a special Drinking News t-shirt using the slogan, "Crap catches crooks," or maybe "Don't do the duty if you can't do the time," or maybe just the word "craptastic." Let us know if you'd buy any of those. We'll put them together.
Adam, edit all of those out.
Reporting from Florida, where it smells a little funny. My name's Cruz, and that is your Drinking News. Thank you very much.
Wow.
Have you poured us whiskey here, my friend?
I have poured. We need more.
That's a true story. That was in the news. That was in the news this week.
Not a doubt in my mind that it's true.
If you Google Florida man poop, it'll be the first story that comes up.
You ever just Google Florida man in your birthday?
Oh, I haven't done that with my birthday.
And so every whatever day and month,
yep,
you'll find something that happened on
something to commemorate your birthday with a Florida man story.
Yep.
Yeah, it always. Some of the Florida man stories I find are very disturbing, but not in a humorous way.
Yeah,
so I have a tendency
some
to
of
skip
them are
those.
absolutely hilarious.
Right.
And some of them are just, these people are stupid.
All right, so let's talk walking stick bourbon here. You were examining the bottle, Alan. What did you find?
So, funny story. It says Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey on it, but on the back it says bottled by the Founders Company, Louisville, Kentucky. And I said, well, wait a minute. That doesn't make any sense. It would have said distilled. And then I realized it said Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. So I was like, so who actually makes it? Why isn't the Founders, whoever that's, saying they distill it? Mm-hmm. So I looked it up. It's a Sazerac product.
Okay.
And it's made at the Barton 1792 distillery.
Okay.
So no wonder it tastes like Blanton's.
Yeah, well, this could be a good thing, right? I mean, Blanton's can be hard to find. It's still allocated everywhere.
Yep.
I mean, we haven't tasted it yet, but it could be. This could be a good thing.
Well, I mean, it's a light nose right off the rip.
Light nose, little caramel.
But Blanton's is too. Blanton's doesn't have a full.
That's true.
That is not better than Blanton's.
No, definitely not better than Blanton's. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to recall Blanton's and see if it compares, because I'm not getting Blanton's from this.
No, Blanton. This is. I'm trying to think of the word. This is smushed. I can't. This is other flavors smushed into something impacted. I don't even know. It's an interesting visual you're getting. Yeah. I'm not getting vanilla. I'm not getting caramel. I'm not getting bananas. But I'm getting little hints.
A little bit of cinnamon.
Of those. Yeah. I even get a little star anise off of it. I will say, it 90 proof. You said it was about $40 a bottle?
About 40, yeah.
It's not a bad bourbon at $40 a bottle at all. But I will tell you, if you're thinking, because Saz makes it and it's made at the Barton 1792 distillery, if you're thinking you could grab a bottle of this and pour it into your empty Blanton's bottle and confuse your friends, they would know the difference.
Mm-hmm. Like you said, it is not bad. And it's not even... I won't even say it's not worth the 40. It's probably is worth the 40.
Yeah.
Although I would still like, if you can find it, I'd still go Buffalo Trace over this.
I would definitely do the Old Weller Special Reserve over this at $32 a bottle,
or even the Slane Irish whiskey. We had some of that.
Yeah, Slane's good. I never was for a long time. My grandparents were, and I was like,
Irish?
No. And then seeing Wade talk about it, I got onto it. And now Wild Turkey 101 is my daily sipper. I keep bottles at home. There's bottles at the shop.
It's hard to go wrong, and it's inexpensive.
Yeah. $30 for, or not even that much, but for big bottle, and it's great. Every time you drink it, it's the same. It's not bad.
It's not 30-year-old Gregarious Grump cognac, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, they can't all be Kris Hart.
See, you thought you were done promoting Kris Hart?
Oh, that wasn't promoting Kris Hart.
We need to have Kris back on the show. It's actually been too long since
I've got to be a couple of shows ahead of him.
I think you are by now.
You just need to keep Kris Hart.
I think you are by now.
Keep Kris Hart out your mouth. So
I just think it's so interesting. There's so much crazy stuff going on in the country and in the world. We're coming out of hopefully coming out of a pandemic, unless it spikes again. I know it has in Europe.
Wait, hold on. Pandemic? What are you talking about?
Exactly. I'm just saying we gotten to the end of that. We've got a war going on in Ukraine.
Yeah. Okay. I heard about Ukraine.
Yeah.
I haven't heard about.
You haven't heard anything about the pandemic?
Yeah, in quite a while.
Well, it kind of disappeared from the news coverage when Ukraine happened.
I wonder why.
And now all anybody's talking about is Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. Yeah. It's like, there's still a war in Ukraine? Yeah, I think so, but did you see the Oscars?
I tell you what, it's instant gratification. Our news cycle is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, and it just makes you wonder what will be next.
Yeah.
You know? What will be next? Because everything, I know you were joking about the pandemic because it seemed like that's all that was in the news for 2 years. So long. Yeah. And then all of a sudden here came Ukraine and Russia. And then Ukraine and Russia have disappeared a bit for the last couple of days because of the slap.
Yeah, apparently.
Slapgate or whatever you want to call it.
I saw Fauci is suing Putin just because he's not getting any TV time anymore because of Putin. And I don't think Putin has any money to pay him, even if he won.
Yeah. The latest thing I hear is that Putin may not know how badly the war is going for Russia because his people may be afraid to tell him.
Well, yeah, you got to figure somebody like that. It reminds me of North Korea or the Germans in World War II. Who wants to go give Kim Jong-un or who wanted to give Adolf Hitler bad news?
I was always kind of like that with my dad. Never wanted to give my dad bad news.
No one wants to give their dad bad news.
I guess you're right. That's not isolated to me.
I could give my mom bad news, but giving your dad bad news, you just didn't want to.
Mom, I got some bad news for you. I've done 276 episodes of a show called Smokin' and Toastin'. Sorry, Mom.
And I need you to tell Dad.
Yeah, that's right.
Just wait till your father gets home. Are you going to tell him? I don't have to.
Let's open up some worldwide stout, shall we? From Dogfish Head. Dogfish Head, of course, is one of those breweries that I think exists in kind of a rarefied space.
Yes.
Those guys and Stone and Ingenious, and there's a number of others that are just...
Cigar City,
feels
too.
like Cigar... Yes, absolutely. That just feels like they can just about do no wrong.
Yeah.
And Dogfish Head, of course, is now... They have merged with... and they're part of the same general company as Boston Beer Company, which owns Sam Adams, but they have very wisely decided to cross-pollinate, but not to mess with each other's products. Well, so they're trying to get the best out of the merger without it being one of those things where Sam Adams says, "Oh, well, we already have a lager, so you guys cancel yours."
Well, let's hope it works out better for them than it did with Carbach getting bought by AIB.
I hope so. By the way, speaking of Carbach, I noticed when I was in Specs this week, there is now a Love Street Light. And Love Street must be their bestseller. I think it has become.
I think it has been
their
for
bestseller.
a little while now.
Yeah, and it's because it's one of those things that a lot of times when you go someplace and they have a really horrible beer selection, you can almost always count on them having Love Street. You're like, okay, I'll take a Love Street. Love Street becomes the Sam Adams of that situation.
Mine is the it never fails. If I'm looking and it's like Budweiser, Bud Light, Miller Light, Coors Light, Shiner. Is there any? And I'll do a Shiner if I have to, but I'm seeing Crawford Bock.
Yeah, and it's like kind of trying to replace Shiner almost.
Yeah.
Well, and of course, why that is because Anheuser-Busch is going to be one of the biggest accounts for that place. And Anheuser-Busch is going to work to push other real craft beer out and replace it with their own. But I got news for you. I've had Crawford Bock. It is not Shiner Bock. It is not even close to Shiner Bock. No. And it's not nearly as good. Now, I will admit there are a couple of things in the Carbach lineup that I still enjoy. I don't like buying them because I don't like giving money to AB. But in a pinch, a Love Street can be great.
Yeah.
In a pinch, even a Hopadillo can be great. I burned myself out on that a long time ago, but now that I don't have it all the time, it's not bad. And Crawford Bock's okay, but it's not Shiner Bock. It's what it wants to be Shiner Bock when it grows up.
I have just found that if I'm going to go somewhere and drink, I am less likely to go somewhere that doesn't have good craft beer.
That is a really interesting point. Now, sometimes if you're at like a concert or a sporting event, you don't have a lot of choice. But yeah, you're 100% right. If you go to a restaurant, and I'm looking at you, Papacitos, that used to have a really good beer selection and doesn't anymore.
Don't look at me because I'm friends with Kris.
Well, I'm just saying, you guys need to up your game. Do not let Anheuser-Busch control your entire beer selection. I understand you need to sell Bud Light. I mean, I get it. If I had a restaurant, I'd have Bud Light on the menu too.
But 99, I mean, when's the last time you went into a restaurant that had a shitty beer selection that didn't have Shiner?
Well, again, Shiner becomes the saving grace.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it.
Absolutely. I will have a Shiner Bock, and thank you for not getting rid of that.
Yeah.
All right. But Dogfish Head, as we were saying at the beginning of this, these guys have maintained their independence even in their merger with Boston Beer and Sam Adams. And by the way, Sam Adams makes great beer too. So it's not like they merged with a company that was a mega company or a company that had like sacrificed on the quality of what they were making for big money. Yeah. So, but Dogfish Head remains a little smaller, a little craftier, and I'm really interested to see what this Bourbon-Barrel aged stout is going to taste like. So,
yeah, at least they haven't come in and said, "Oh, by the way, you're going to now start using this hops and this of this.
I don't know if it's true or not, but one of my favorite Karbach beers, and I know it's an IPA, so it's not going to be one of yours, but I liked the Bright and Shiny, I think it's called, and it has a definite grapefruit quality to it. And my understanding is that when they got bought by AB, I don't know that this is true. I need to ask Karbach if it was, but the story is that they were told not to use so much grapefruit.
Well, I know Karbach for a time was using all Texas-based grains.
Right. I don't think that's happening anymore.
No.
Well, they're making Karbach in other AB areas too. So, so listen, Karbach. We don't mean to bag on Karbach.
No,
I actually really like those guys over there, and they do make some very good beers.
Yep.
I just, and you know what? I also don't even hold it against them that they sold.
No, I don't either.
That's the American way. You know what I mean?
Come on, if Spotify walked in here right now and said, "Hey, we want to take Smoking and Toasting, and we're going to give you $100 million, but you can only talk about near beer and seltzers." You're going to be talking about a whole bunch of near beer and seltzers.
Wow, that's probably right. Unfortunately, I think everybody does have a price, and it'd be great. We'd be on everywhere. Spotify would be promoting us to the end of the earth, and then Neil Young would go, "I'm not going to be on the same platform as Smoking and Toasting."
All right.
and yeah, exactly.
Hey, as long as we still got Duran Duran, we don't need you.
Yeah, Duran would be like, "Smoking and Toasting? No. Get us off of that." All right, let's pop that top before I do another bad accent. There you go. See how that adds to the whole...
Man, it does. There's something that makes that very pleasant.
There's something to that. Let's pour some beers, shall we?
All right, I want motor oil.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I'm getting to.
Yeah, I had a feeling. This is not an inexpensive 12-ounce bottle, by the way. It is
good stouts usually aren't.
It's not a bomber, but it's not cheap. So
it's like the big 16-ounce cans of Ingenious. They're $9.99 to $11.99.
So Ingenious. We got to have those guys on again. That is just a great brewery with so many great products. So, what's that?
They're so good.
Yeah, they're so good. Bourbon-Barrel aged worldwide stout from Dogfish Head, and it just says 12 fluid ounces and ages well on the side, but on this side it says a very dark ale brewed with a ridiculous amount of barley.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for the ABV. Maybe I missed it on the other side. I do not see the ABV, and they usually put them on Dogfish Head. I saw a 5%, but that's actually it's 5 cents on the cash refund on the bottom.
I
in
can
certain
smell states. It's way more than 5%.
Yeah, I do not find an ABV. That's very interesting.
That's weird.
Yeah, because they usually.
May I?
Yeah, see if you can find it here. So here you go. This stout, they do say that it ages well. Oh, man, you were right. This ain't 5%. There's no way. I love this on the nose, and Ian is really missing out on this. This would be his kind of stout, I think. See it anywhere? Did I miss it?
No, but I'm wondering. There's a part over here I can barely read.
Mm-hmm.
So
you can probably look that up. While you look it up, I'm gonna keep smelling this beer because, oh man, that's great on the nose. Mm. Well, it's very boozy, so I can tell you, I'm gonna guess in 11%.
It's got to be in a 10-11%.
Chocolate cake, a little bit of coffee, some rum raisin vibe, and this was matured in bourbon barrels. So I don't know for how long, but
holy crap!
What?
They don't know.
They don't know the ABV?
But it ranges, I guess they do it in different barrels and it changes. Ranges from 15 to 20% ABV.
Well, now we know why it doesn't say on the bottle. Wow, that is killer. And I also understand why because this was about, I want to say this is about a $10 or $12 individual 12-ounce bottle. So it's not like you're used to paying that for one bottle of beer unless it's a bomber.
So it specifically says, brewed with a ridiculous amount of barley, Worldwide Stout is a dark, rich, roasty, and complex. This ageable ale clocks in at 15 to 20% ABV and has a depth more in line with a fine port than a can of cheap, mass-marketed beer.
Well, cheap, mass-marketed beer, it is not.
I get where they could say port or even a Madeira out of this.
It has some of that kind of characteristic to it. It is to be sipped. It's not something you throw back.
No, you definitely don't chug one of those.
Somewhere Ian just went, challenge accepted.
I bet you can't drink 3 of them in 30 minutes, and I'll buy them.
Oh, wow. This is really delicious. It's very boozy, but that doesn't keep it from being very sort of sweet and flavorful in a very good way.
Very good way.
I still say the number one thing I get is chocolate cake.
Oh, 100%.
It's like a big old fluffy piece of chocolate cake. And it's delicious. Wow. Loving that. A little fudge, a little coffee bean, and a little bit of that rum raisin that like you ever have a rum soaked raisin?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the vibe I get a little bit on the finish. Yeah. That's the vibe I get a little bit on the finish of this.
Little Debbie brownies.
Little Debbie brownies. Very good. Let me show this to the camera. I mean, this is a treat. Now, I got this at Specs. It was in the display, just individual bottles. I did not see a 4-pack or a 6-pack.
I bet they can't sell it in 4-packs.
They may not be able to because the ABV. Right. Well, so look for it individually and look for it quickly because it's really good. It is really, really good. Wow. So you're a stout guy. You like the dark beers. Yeah. Would you put this in your top 5 ever? No. Okay.
And this is 3 of my top 5 stouts. Are Ingenious.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
My top 5.
And Ingenious, I think of them almost as an IPA place.
Yeah.
You know, but they do make wonderful stouts.
Yep.
Wow. We got to have them back on the show. Those guys are amazing.
One of them is Cigar City. And then Saloon Door.
I love Cigar City's the Maduro. It's their brown ale. That is absolutely delicious.
Y'all should go down to Doug's place and record an episode from there.
We should do that, yes.
He has Saloon Door making his beer. They do a...
Saloon Door's made some good beers.
Man, they have Tasty AF, Ridiculous AF.
I just want to say, this gets better as you drink it, too. I poured myself a little more, and I'm liking it even more than I did initially.
I would love to drink the rest of that bottle, except I have to drive to Galveston.
Yes, of course, I understand. And you're a responsible person.
There's some Harris County constable out there going, well, he's leaving RF Studios right now. He ought to be down here about Alameda Mall about 40 minutes.
Yeah, I still think Uber should sponsor the show. Yeah. I really do. Really do. All right, we were gonna take a break. This is I can't tell you enough how much I like this.
Yeah, it's really good.
And it's really a wonderful, wonderful stout, and I recommend it highly. It's going to be expensive, and I'm just going to say it's worth it.
What was it? $12.99, $14.99.
I want to say it was between $10 and $12. Yeah, for the single bottle. But it's absolutely worth it. Every bit. We'll drink every drop of it, and we'll do some of that when we return to bid you adieu. It is Smoking and Toasting, show number 276.
You know, that's the thing about a good stout, though, is
welcome back, my friends. Smoking and Toasting is on the air all over the world. We're on show number 276. My guest host is Alan Denney. Thank you so much for coming in this week.
It is my pleasure. I love being
always,
on the show.
and I didn't even know you were going to bring good booze. That just makes you even more irresistible, I must say.
Like Robert Palmer.
Yeah, even if your French accent's not nearly as good as Doc's.
So, funny story. I don't know why this made me think of it. Do you know what they said is the #1 music video of all time?
What is it? Robert Palmer, "Addicted to Love"?
No,
I would guess Thriller, but obviously that's not it.
That's got to be number 2. Sledgehammer.
Such a great song.
Yeah.
And such a great video. And he's such an amazing artist. Peter Gabriel. I love him. Love him.
Yep.
Never seen him live.
I haven't either.
I would love to, though. I'd love to. We are going to be wrapping up the show here in just a moment. Want to say, again, thanks to Alan for stepping in when Ian was out of town this week. We will be seeing Alan next week because we'll be down at the Galveston Island Cigar Lounge, which is where you hold court regularly. We'll be thrilled to be. And I'm wondering if maybe we try to do the show on your back deck.
Well, I told when Mary asked me about it, I said, let's do that. I was even talking to Ian last Wednesday.
Yeah.
And said, if it's not, let's see what the weather's supposed to be.
Oh, you can actually check the weather for next
we can. We got these things now that are.
So we'll be this will be one of the shows we'll be recording in advance. We'll be recording it on Monday, and then it'll show up like magic on the internet on Thursday.
Well, I guess we'll have to see. Monday's a 56% chance of rain.
We'll see. We'll see. It could be. That will all change because it's the weather. I've always wanted, in my next life, by the way, I want to be a weather forecaster because it's the only job where you get paid really well and you never have to be right.
Yeah, even if you're wrong.
Never have to be right. I definitely want to do that. That'll be awesome. So next week, we're at Galveston Island Cigar Lounge with Trenton from Oliva. We'll be talking Oliva cigars and smoking Oliva cigars, and I'll be looking forward to that very, very much. And then the week after that, we are going to be proud to welcome, for the first time on the program, David Schroeder with Guinness will be joining us. So that should be a fun and interesting show.
What's he do for Guinness?
He's one of their reps. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure what his exact title is, but we've been talking with him about being on the show. Of course, we asked him to be on the show for St. Patrick's Day, and he was kind of busy that day. Yeah, so
find out why Guinness over here tastes different than Guinness over there.
All right, that'll be one of our questions, and a good one too. And then the following week, we are very excited to bring our smoking and toasting wine expert Mark Burrell back to the show. Always fun when Mark is on the program, and always some really good wine that he brings along too. And we'll ask him as we're beginning to get into spring. We'll ask him to recommend some wines for spring and summer.
That hoity-toity, hoodity, fruitity Moscato, I'm sure that's...
Yeah. No, Mark's really not like that. I mean, for God's sake, his restaurant is a place where they serve like elk and wild game and stuff. They're not too hoity-toity over there at the lodge. That's pretty.
No, when I said hoity-toity Moscato, I meant that $5 bottle of Gallo Moscato.
Gotcha. Yeah, I wasn't following. I gotcha. So, well, I have to say we've tried some very interesting things on the show. The walking stick was good, but didn't blow our minds. The stout was fantastic.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of the unrefined Shugga.
There was nothing bad that we had on the show today.
No, and I got to say, kudos to Kris Hart and his Gregarious Grump spirits. Both of those were impressive, and the 30-year was just absolutely a treat. Thanks for bringing those.
Yeah, of course.
Appreciate it. And we are looking forward to being back with you again, smoking next week as we smoke Oliva cigars down at the Galveston Island Cigar Lounge. Have a great week, my friends. Thanks to Aaron on the Wheels of Steel. Aaron, I can't believe I called you your brother's name.
Adam?
I don't think I've ever done that, have I? Thanks to Adam on the Wheels of Steel. And Doug, our upcoming future producer, who is waiting in the wings. Have a great week, my friends, and cheers, y'all.
See y'all next time.
Can't believe I called you Aaron. How did that happen?
That was the whole show that I called him.
What, me calling him Aaron?
You just called him.
Calling his brother's name.